friends, Janet here. I was asked a couple of weeks ago by a few people, on actually just after my last video, I don't remember when that was, but I was asked to show some of the books I'm currently working in. Some of them you've seen if you've been seeing the last few videos. Some, I've shown some of them, but I'll go quickly through them because if people want to see stuff a person's working on currently, I can understand that because I watch those videos too. I love it when my artist friends show their work, show their books and so on. So the only thing that isn't in this pile is the Book of Shadows that I regularly work in. If you're interested in seeing more of that journal, you can find that on Magical Hearth. It's a YouTube channel called Magical Hearth, and there's lots of pagan stuff on there and things like that. But the Book of Shadows, I do all my pages that are, open to the public. I do them and video them for that channel. But these are the current books I'm working in. So I guess we'll get started. This is the one I've been working in most often recently. This is not going to go well. Most often recently. And as I said, it's a repurposed. I started it out as a writing prompt journal, and it's repurposed. It had all these pictures in it, and I would write bits. I pasted in all my excess pictures I had cut out, but knew I'd never use in a serious layout or anything like that. So I had filled almost the whole book with these pictures. So I find that I do all my writing online. I very, very rarely, other than writing in my handwritten journals, I very, very rarely do any other prompt writing on paper. So I repurposed this journal into a glue book. So I've taken a bunch of pictures that I like, but wouldn't really use, or haven't found a place to use them yet. And I'm using them in this glue book. I love this Madame Curie. Hellfire and Brimstone, yada yada. What else? I just showed this one the other day. There's a baby page, and there's a couple of, I just passed them back here. I jump around because then books don't get lopsided, unless I guess you want to go in date order. There's one I did a purple page. I love that. Love that. And there's a color page, colorful one I did. I don't go in date order because it keeps the book sort of uniformly squishy. When it starts to get really full and puffy, if you have it just on one side, then it's going to get all lopsided. Here I have an example here. One of my first journals after years of not journaling. I bought a used book. It was like a Hollywood pictures. It had to do with cinema and stuff. See, those are all pages. This is what the pages all looked like. This kind of thing. It was a old Hollywood cinema book. But I started it and worked from front to back, and this is what happens. So it actually sits all crooked, doesn't sit properly, and it opens crooked too. So, lesson learned. I haven't done a journal like that since. Unless it's dated, I don't jump around with them. So, this is this book. It's just a fun little smaller size glue book. I have that one. I made 2 glue books the other day out of magazines. They're just the fold in half pages, and I've got lots of pages to fill here. I'm going to fill them for other people with other people's interests and stuff as little gifts. Not very big deal. Okay, now this one is a constant. I've been working in this for about 2 years. It's an old chemistry textbook from university or college. And so I started to work in this, and this is, you guys have, I've got previous flips of this book. Lots and lots of fun in here. And I have been adding pictures to this book for a little over, well, 3 years, probably closer to 3 years now. What I do in here, which I've learned to really love doing, is I add things through. I don't just start a page and complete a page. I add things to the book, through the book, here and there. If I find something that fits in somewhere, I add it, and so on. And I work all over this book so it doesn't get all weird and you know, all lopsided like my previous experience. This is a page I have yet to finish. I started this, shame on me, when that bomb happened in Manchester. And I've meant to go back to it. I just haven't really been working much in this book. But I pull this book out fairly regularly and mess around in here, have some fun, add a picture here and there. If something runs over, the page is too long, I just fold it and put it on the other page if it's unfinished. But it's nicely puffing. It's not out of whack. It's really nicely puffing. And I tend to sit it a lot of the time with a weighted bag of rice on it, because that also helps to keep the puff handleable. But I love this book, and I regularly just go through and mess around and play and stuff like that. Love that book. This is my favorite magazine book that I've done so far. This is I think a Travelers. I think that's what it's called, Travelers magazine. And it's just awesome. This is where I tried, I love doing double spreads like this. I had this picture and just went from there. This is where I tried Dee Dee Willingham's effect, the way she paints over a page and leaves some of the main stuff in it. Here it is. This was a picture, completely different picture. It was a 3-ring circus around it. Like it was an outward shot of these two performing in the middle of a 3-ring circus. And she paints out the page and then adds these space scenes and so on. And it's probably still not finished, but it's one of my favorite pages in this magazine. So yeah, I play in here quite a bit. That's another I love that page. Love it. And the nice thing about magazine journals is that you don't have to take them seriously. It's just a place to have fun. If you mess up a page, just glue it to the back of the next one. You don't have to be serious about them. This is my is a recent one I've been working in. It's the beginning of it is older. It's it was like a glue book journal sort of thing. So these are all notes to myself, reminding myself of the promises I make to myself. Remind myself to go fishing every now and then, in the metaphorical sense. Take a break, you know. Because sitting at your computer can feel really easy, but before you know it, you've racked up too many hours, you know. So this is all just notes to myself and things. And then I started to play around with some pictures, and I had some magazine pictures that I just loved, and some old washi tape. And I'm not going to do all the pages like that, just some of them, but I find these things in National Geographic and things like that. So I've got lots to finish in here. I love this. My daughter gave me this notebook. So that's one I work in as an inspired thing. This is one I work in that's a little less, I try very hard in this one to keep it kind of lovely, keep it the way I want it, because I want this journal to be something that I put a little more time into than some of the other glue books and stuff like that. So this is one that I've been working on, and it's got sayings in it. It's a doodle book. It's a set. I did a review about it. It'll be in the archives, the video here. I did a review, and these These are just paintings I've done, things like that. But there's these sayings that I've tended to match to what I'm putting on the page, you know. It's fun to work that way. I tried out a napkin that someone had sent me. I just love the picture on, just love it. And I've played around with different glazes and stuff like that in this book. So it's definitely an art journal. The saying on this says pink isn't just a color, it's an attitude. So I played with that. The camera makes it look far less pink than it is. This page is rather Barbie pink. It's those shades. So yeah, my camera's not I guess the best for color. So this is my formal art journal currently. It's like, I don't know how many generations it is in. And I've done a few videos working in this one. This is a loose paper, garbage paper journal I made out of just all the leftover paper I had around. Paint pages, cut-offs, paper bags, just junk paper that was left around that I wasn't, even pages I tore out of the chemistry book to make way for the bulk in there. So I made it into this, I put a couple of rings in and made it into this journal, and I've been playing here and there in this too. It's just all junk pages and old pages, and I've been doing some journal pages, some collage pages in here. All kinds of paper, all kinds of everything, and just doing collage on. And it's so easy and free a book because it doesn't mean, I mean, I actually love working in here because each page had a purpose for being in my studio. So I kind of love it for that reason. But I've been doing art in here and collage and so on. I don't jump around in here only because it's on a couple of big rings, and it doesn't shift the way a bound book does. So I'm just moving front to back in this. And we have the Altered Book Journal, my latest one. It was The Great Singers, a Simon & Schuster book in its first incarnation. And right now it's an altered book. This page is not done. I need to finish this page. This page is done. And it's heavy with glaze. This page is done, as is this one. This page is almost done. I'm going to add a couple more things to it. It's kind of not my style, and I don't know why I went there, to be honest with you. This page has its background ready. I love working in this book because I just plan out my pages, so loving it. I love this book. There are certain things you love working in, others you really like working. This is one of my favorites. Another background page. The first page I did in this book was almost the center at the time. And then I've prepped another couple of pages ready for the rest of that book. And last but not least is my desk journal. It's basically just ends of paint that I see ends of paint that I don't want to waste it, so I put it in here. Most people I know keep some kind of book for that kind of thing. Magazines are good for that. You can just paint over the pages. Old books, like old fiction and stuff that you get that somebody's throwing away, just paint right over the type, and it can actually look really cool through your leftover paint. It can end up looking really cool. But this one, I plop stuff in when I get it and the mood strikes me, and I just throw it in there. And then sometimes I come in here and play. Sometimes I tear out the page and use it on another piece I'm doing. I think this is just, yeah. And that's what a desk journal is. It's just a place to slop stuff. This was the first incarnation of this particular page. I did one very much like it in my Book of Shadows It's on Magical Hearth. It might even be on here too. I've posted them on here as well. So the Book of Shadows one is much larger, and it's very similar though. So I really enjoyed doing this page. So that's about it, other than this one I have, which is simply just a glue book, but it's the cool stuff like maps I find in National Geographic, because I am an NG collector. If I see them at yard sales, I automatically buy them. Whether I know I have them or not, I will always harvest from them. But there's a bunch of cool things, maps and stuff, pullouts that they put in those magazines that I wanted to keep, and this is as good a place as any to keep it. So those are the books I am currently working in. That does not include my writing journals. I have, I don't know, 4 of those going at the moment. You know, my personal journals and then my spiritual journal and so on. So this is what I'm working in now, aside from you've seen my current sketchbook. And the last thing I did in that was the fireplace. So I hope you guys have an excellent day, and I'll be back soon with another collage video. Take care.